For everyone for joining today. We have a unique little mini benchmark study that we're going to share with quite a few of you. And we had several SOCAP brands participate in this and share. And this is really what SOCAP is all about. It's really just sharing with one another, learning from one another. And this is a great example of that type of community we have across SOCAP. I almost said across Carhartt, but too many calls today. So yeah, this is a little benchmark study that Kai did when she was kind of deep diving into a gap that we had at Carhartt, and it inspired her just to reach out to other partners, but a gap between our QA scores and our CSAT, specifically for email. And then it turned into a much broader little study. And so I'm going to hand it over to Kai and let her take it away. So Kai.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm so excited that all of you are here joining me. So thank you for that. But diving right in, guys, as service leaders, we constantly ask ourselves fundamental questions, right? And one of those questions that we ask ourselves and that we're looking at is how do we prove that our quality programs are actually driving customer satisfaction? So, driven by that question and what Angela mentioned, I jumped, feet first, head first into this cross-industry mini benchmark study to see exactly how leading brands are aligning QA with CSAT to drive measurable business impact. If you don't know me, if this is my first time meeting you virtually, my name is Shakiya Perez, but everybody calls me Kai. I am a training and quality manager within customer service at Carhartt, and I am so pumped. I don't know if you can feel the passion coming through the screen today, but I am so pumped to share with you all what I discovered. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right in. So let's start with a hard truth, right, that inspired this research in the first place. And that is an accurate answer can still fail the customer or consumer if it doesn't feel clear, owned, resolved. We all know that compliance is really only half the battle. Did you give correct information? Did you follow the process? Right? And in studying and doing the benchmarking with these various brands, I found that while customer satisfaction is deeply shaped across every single channel, right? Voice, chat, email, SMS. When I looked at it, email consistently surfaced as the biggest operational opportunity and point of friction, right? Written service exposes effort quickly. And I'm going to tell you why if you don't know why, right? We're going to dive into that and kind of uncover why that communication method can be tricky, right? And what we can do about it together. So before I reveal what my study uncovered, I wanted to do a quick pulse check with the room. So I just popped up a quick poll. It's an image. So what I'm asking for you guys to do today is in the chat, if you could drop A, B, or C. So we're looking at how connected are your QA and CSAT, just from the mindset and perspective that you have today, right? Are you A, mostly running separate scorecards, scoreboards? Is QA and CSAT mostly separate? Are you somewhere in between where it's kind of connected, CSAT informs coaching, but it's still developing? Are you C, it's connected, QA, CSAT connected, CSAT influences scorecard design, or are you D, like you are highly connected end to end, you have a full rhythm that's working? I want to hear from you all. So let's see where
I can tell
the
you
group
so
sits.
far, we're seeing 50% A's and 50% B's, maybe another B trickling in. So B's kind of in the lead right now.
Awesome. Okay. So look at that. Like that shows me right there that most of us are in the same place. We're in the trenches together, so to speak. Um, yeah, I am excited to now you make me more excited to dive into the information. So thank you. All right. Again, thank you for sharing that and being transparent. What you shared, it really helps to align beautifully, really, with the roadmap that I have laid out for us today. So we are not going to talk about like abstract theories, guys. We are going to talk about like real life from real brands, firsthand information. I'll share where our peer brands, including Carhartt, sit today, the major themes that surfaced, and then we're going to close with some of the framework that I and my team used to transform Carhartt's overall email CSAT and the trajectory and pathway that it kind of put us on. And then also, what makes this study like really special and I think unique to me is that, like Angela said, the data, it came from our very own SOCAP community. It wasn't strangers, it was actually peers who are in the same space looking to gain the same gleanings from the benchmark study. So if you are here today and you're one of the, you don't have to raise your hand or anything. I just want to say a special thank you for that because I couldn't have done it without you. Okay. All right. So to give you a quick snapshot of the work, this study evaluated 7 brands, participating brands, including my brand as well, across retail, CPG, and automotive, focusing on the 6 core areas that you see in the lower bottom of the screen. And again, these brands were very open-mindedly sharing their workflows, and it allowed me to make some pretty spectacular connections. So together, we looked at everything from form structures, sample rates, coaching loops, AI, and overall maturity, which was really, really, really interesting and showed some interesting patterns rather. So this isn't a massive like marketing survey of thousands of companies. It's an intimate study. Okay, so quick disclaimer before we look at the results. And I kind of just led the witness a little bit, but I designed this as a benchmark study, as a mini benchmark study. The goal here isn't like a statistical, comprehensive market research report or like direct brand to brand ranking. The real value here is in the pattern recognition. So I want you to look at these findings the way that I did, right? As a directional signal to help us see what patterns are showing up and what we can actually action on next. Cool, cool. Look, I'm going to take that as everybody gave me a thumbs up right in that moment because we're all on the same page. Awesome. You are rock stars. Okay. We are also busy, so I'm going to get straight to the point with this. Benchmark results and key themes and insights. So I'm going to start off with kind of an executive summary. When I put all the data together, a few things stood out to me pretty much almost immediately. That the majority of us all have separate QA and CSAT, and almost no one is formally connecting them, although everyone is very interested, and that is an end goal for the majority. Our QA looks amazing on paper, but high compliance scores aren't really guaranteeing happy customers. And one primary area that I saw pretty consistently is email is exposing that gap. And the metrics aren't correlating to what many are seeing in CSAT, if CSAT is even being measured, because there were a few brands that weren't even measuring CSAT at all. So this showed me that there is a really big opportunity for us to, and I say us, like the collective contact center customer service space, us, to stop treating CSAT like a side report and start using it as a design input for how we measure overall quality assurance. So, some interesting things, right? Or some interesting stats. There was one brand that shared that when they were comparing CSAT for email to their other channels, that their email CSAT was like at a 54%, and their voice or other non-voice channels were at a 90%. There was another one that said, oh no, my CSAT for email is sitting at like a 59%, where the rest of their channels had a cumulative average of like an 89%, right? So huge differentiator. And I'm sure you're probably thinking like, but why? Well, with email, it's not as forgiving. in email, right? You don't have the opportunity to build a connection otherwise. You have that one interaction and they interpret the feeling or the resolution or whatever it is in that one interaction. So it's important that we get it right, as it pertains to email. And transparently with you all, um, this was an opportunity area for Carhartt. I'll get into like a really cool case study with Carhartt, but that is what sparked this desire to do the benchmark is that we saw that we had lower CSAT scores and higher QA scores. So this was a really cool opportunity for me to tap into, you know, kind of the what I thought, what I had a hunch was happening, but to see what was actually happening in the industry and how we could all, as a collective, drive our companies towards better um, overall customer satisfaction. So some cool things, kind of unique to some of the brands, and it's not on here. I didn't want to put a bunch of data up here and have you guys like falling asleep on me or anything, but unique to some of the brands, right? Or some of the industries rather. So in the CPG space, I kind of saw that a lot of or I say a lot, this was only 7 brands, but a couple of the brands were leaning more so into a coaching first culture and utilizing CSATs to drive quality without actually having a numerical value. I thought that was really cool because that's not something that we're currently doing in our space. From an automotive perspective, that was the smallest sampling and the least amount of data that I got. So please keep that in mind as you're listening in, is that I didn't get a ton of data in the automotive space. But one thing that I did glean was that they were digesting 100% of the contacts and doing a lot of AI transcription and analysis around, the themes of the contacts that they were getting in. And they also were very much open to and interested in connecting CSAT to their QA through the same methodology, through using AI and technology to do so. And then one commonality across the retail space was that one, the majority of the retail space uses a third-party vendor for additional contact center support, and as a result are highly either invested in or seeking after auto QAing. So automatically evaluating contacts and using that to digest either a segmented portion of their contacts or 100% of their contacts. So I just thought that was really interesting. That is something that we've explored or starting to explore at Carhartt. So it seemed to trend across the retail space. Okay. All right. So before I leave this page too, I just want to call out in the blue area there, like based on everything that I've kind of explained, what you're seeing here from the 5 benchmarking themes as it pertains to like QA being strong on paper, email exposing a gap, QA and CSAT for most not correlating, although the interest is there. Coaching exists, right? So the coaching is happening. Almost every single brand had some coaching model in place, but less focus around the tie-in of that with CSAT. Same thing with AI. Everybody seems to be exploring. I feel like AI is like the buzzword, right? Everyone is exploring AI, but very few have actually scaled it. So this signal is not a ranking or anything like that. It is an overarching theme. It's a shared opportunity, and it shows that there is a space for us to really tap into connecting QA, CSAT, coaching, and AI into a rhythm that improves the overall experience for all of our consumers and customers, and not just the score. The score is the byproduct of great customer service, right? Okay. Okay, so where is the industry right now? So, I mean, looking at the research that I've just told you guys about and some of the information that I shared, we have the pieces, the scorecards, the reporting, the coaching. The real gap is whether those pieces are actually talking to each other in a repeatable way, in a measurable way, in an influential way. The benchmarking really showed me that most of us sit kind of in that middle ground where we're developing those connected models. And yes, the market is moving, right? We're moving in the direction of and interested in tying QA and CSAT together, but really no one has scaled at doing this end to end, which made me really optimistic and excited for where we all could go with our QA, right? Most of the brands that I benchmarked, they were somewhere between like customer informed and developing connected models. We all were kind of on the same trajectory in the maturity curve, which I don't know, it's like it's telling, right? It shows that there's up to go from here. So, all right, we're moving and grooving, folks. Okay, so let's talk about theme number 1. So I know I kind of shared with you early on the results, the why, what channel from a customer satisfaction perspective is mostly, or not mostly, but heavily influenced of QA and CSAT not being tied together. But I wanted to break it down into more digestible themes and some outcomes and some actions that we all can take as a result of the benchmarking that I completed. So theme 1, QA is moving from compliance to customer outcomes. We all know the old school check the box, right? That traditional scorecard. People, we love lists. We love checklists, right? Did you follow the process? Did you use the required language, right? But customer outcome based QA asks, did we resolve it? Did we make it easy? Right? Obviously, guys, like discipline and compliance, those things matter. Correct information, all of that stuff matters. But like the truth of it is, a perfect QA score can still miss completely if the customer experience is broken because we aren't actually measuring what the customer actually values, right? Raise your, oh, I guess I can't see because I'm like sharing my screen, sharing from a laptop, but Angela can tell me if she sees it, sees a bunch of, hearts, thumbs up. Is this resonating with you guys? Like, do you guys understand or can see the value in moving from compliance and customer outcomes? If you can, throw me some thumbs up. I just want to make sure you guys are totally awake on this Wednesday, not falling asleep on me, of
Do
course.
you not see the thumbs?
Oh, now I can. I can see it. It shows me like kind of, I have like this mini small image
Yeah.
and I can see the hearts and the thumbs. Awesome. Thank you guys. So really, guys, this theme is high impact, right? Policy may be correct, but leaving the customer confused, unresolved, where we force them to have to reply again, that's not what we're seeing in the space that they want, right? And measuring ownership, what I've found is when we're very compliance heavy and not as much ownership heavy, it's not enough. And the problem, I think, is we prioritize ownership, but resolution is not always tied to ownership, right? Depending on how your QA is set up. So, um, especially in email, right? And I knew based off of what I saw from benchmarking and my own analysis that I did, I knew that we needed to go deeper to find out why. And that is what the over theme of theme 1.
Time check, I just so you know, you're not almost 25 minutes after, so.
Perfect. Okay. All right, guys. So this brings us to theme 2. Email is the channel that exposes the gap. I've kind of already shared, the reasoning behind this, which is this gap, right, slaps us across the face with data, right? If we're looking at our CSAT, we're looking at quality. Email quality is about written clarity, response timing, whether the customer has to write back. Customers really just want to know, did you answer my question? Right? When we overload our emails with, I'm going to call it stiff corporate jargon, sometimes answers, AI answers or delayed answers. And I use the word AI loosely because AI is extremely helpful. But when it sounds not as personable or not like a human, that can cause dissatisfaction. Multiple handoffs, high customer effort, that causes replies to skyrocket, right? Email performance improves, and I'm going to tell you why I can say that firsthand, improves the moment our quality measures reflect written clarity over a compliance checklist. So all of that to say, like these 5 areas, right? We want to focus on. Did you answer my actual question? Was it clear? Was it too hard? And do I trust what happens next? Trust is a big thing, right? Like I know I can pick on Chris and she won't mind, but like I am a Crayola girly, love Crayola. I trust that when I get my crayons that if it says it's a 12 pack, like I trust that I'm getting 12 crayons in there or 24 crayons in there. Trust is a big thing. And there's an opportunity with email to rebuild trust, to have, the trust in your brand restored based off of how you communicate and meet them where they are by looking at email CSAT and then tying that back measurably to your quality assurance instead of it just being a simple checklist. Okay, so love this little like visual here when QA and CSAT tell different stories. When your scorecard measures compliance and your customer is measuring resolution, you can enter in this little danger zone. You guys see the little red danger zone in the gap area over here. That's the frustrating place where I can say, speaking, personally, that we were in, right? That's where you have a high QA score and a low CSAT. And a scorecard can totally pass us along while a human being is still feeling completely unheard. And in my analysis, guys, the correlation isn't automatic. It is legitimately earned when the form rewards ownership, clarity, and low effort, right? So do me a favor. Angela is watching the chat over here. She's my eyes in the sky. Type yes in the chat if you've ever seen a perfect score or a high score, maybe 80 to 100, paired with QA score, paired with a 1-star or low rated CSAT comment. I'll give you guys 2 seconds to do that. Oh, I might be able to see the chat. Let me see.
You got all yeses, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I am amongst the right crowd, right? See, we have all been there, right? Okay. Awesome. I forgot to check that little box, guys, but you see it popped up on the screen. That is what I would like you all to do. Thank you so much. Okay. So, guys, I am going to be super vulnerable and transparent with you today. I'm calling it a Carhartt case study. So what we just talked about on that prior slide, we hit that exact same paradox at Carhartt. We had high QA and a low email CSAT. Now, I want to give this disclaimer. It's not like all of our channels we're like poorly performing or anything like that, right? I just want to say that we are like rock stars with CSAT, but email was a high opportunity a high opportunity area for us. So guys, what we did is we stopped guessing, right? I was presented with like, hey, this is what's going on. Let's get to the bottom. Let's figure out the problem. So we did a analysis of about 6 months worth of data on our QA scores, and then we did a 6-month analysis on all of our CSAT comments, friction things. We even went down and looked at like case types, subtypes, all of those things. And as a result, we identified the major friction areas that was causing us to, get the DSATs, right? So as a result, we rebuilt our entire email quality and coaching program around 4 core pillars. And it's so funny. We have our vendor, they like chant it now. It's so cool. Every time like we're like on a call, they remember this. It's like a thing now. And that is resolution, clarity, ownership, and customer effort, right? Those primary 4 areas. And what we also did is, because we read this in the CSAT feedback and we talked to our agents, right? Which is always important. we took that and we empowered our agents to own the outcomes instead of following scripts, right? Giving our agents the ability to offer greater discounts or make a decision on something as opposed to it having to come from a leader or, maybe our tier 3 or whatever. And guys, the result is wild. Okay. Like, brace yourselves. In just 4 months, we have seen a massive 35% climb in CSAT. Okay. And it's continuing to climb. And I'm talking week over week, right? That is proof that when CSAT drives the frontline excellence, like, we all win. Now, again, we can apply this same theory and this same logic to other areas, right, to continue to improve ourselves. But guys, it's still climbing. Like, even though we, started this effort a few months ago, we're still seeing the benefits. And not only that, our agents are giving us positive feedback. So it's not even just our customers and translating into positive CSATs. Our QA is starting to align with the CSAT. Like, QA is coming down, CSAT is going up. And then our agents are giving us such positive comments and feedback. Like, I'm excited, like, to talk about it or to implement it because it's well received all around. Okay, wrapping this up here, guys. These are my last two themes, and then we're going to get practical with this. So themes 3 and 4, right? So to pull this off in real life, you need 2 levers, right? Lever 1 is designing a feedback loop, treating CSAT as an input, allowing it to influence QA and honestly, even your training, right? Use the failure points, the low scores to rewrite what your QA forms measure. And survey after the resolution is completed. We do that at Carhartt as well, and not mid-journey, because you're going to get frustration, you're going to get DSATs, and you didn't even finish taking care of that customer consumer, right? That's lever 1. Lever 2 is coaching to customer outcomes. I saw this in some of the results of the benchmarking from some of the other brands too. Move away from punitive, check the box conversations. Dashboards don't change behavior. Coaching does, right? I can tell you all, I get coached. I coach my team. We coach other people. We have our leaders who are coaching our agents. When we make the customer outcomes the absolute, like, centerpiece of our one-on-ones, our team huddles, and our calibration sessions, we get like the best results, the best adoption, the best buy-in for the quality changes, the training changes, no matter the level of the person who is offering the support, right? That's not to say, if you're in early stages of QA, obviously take your time. There's so many ways, I don't like the analogy, like so many ways to skin a cat's. It's kind of like not nice to cats. I'm not an animal lover. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not an animal hater, but I don't like the analogy of skinning cats. But there's many ways to come about this. But I know at the core of it, the customer has to come first in their outcomes and then work backwards, right? It results in the best overall outcome for your customer satisfaction and the satisfaction of your agents. Okay, last little piece, little tidbit that I want to talk about, because everybody loves AI. I am an AI girly also, and that is balancing the excitement with governance. AI is not the destination, right? It is the scale mechanism. It's the first question, or the first question that we should be asking ourselves is, are we measuring the behaviors that matter, right? And some of the feedback that I got and some of the independent research that I completed is that we have to know where we are first. We have to know what we're measuring, what we're hoping our outcomes to be, right? We can't talk about the future of QA without AI, right? AI is incredible. It will expand visibility, transcription, trend mining, coverage. But guys, hear me on this from my heart. AI does not automatically create better quality. It simply scales the model you give it, good or bad. It cannot fix unclear definitions, weak calibration, poor coaching, and follow through. So I love it. I'm for it. But before you automate or scale your QA with AI, your team, your QA program must be crystal clear on what good looks like. And not just from your perspective, so to speak, but from your consumer and your customer's perspective. Just wanted to sprinkle that into the QA and CSAT conversation. Okay. And then, look, I say almost lastly, but kind of lastly, is like, okay, Kai, you tell me all these things. You did this benchmarking, you talked to these brands, you gathered all of this insight, you got these themes for us. That's great. You guys did this at Carhartt. You drove greater CSAT. Like, but what about me? Like, what can I do? Well, I'm so glad you asked me that, guys. If you want to start aligning your program tomorrow, without boiling the ocean, I'm going to give you 5 practical moves that I recommend, that I've done my research on, and that I'm seeing across the brands that I benchmarked with. And that is, first, simply review your CSAT comments by channel, especially email. Identify behaviors your customers reward or what they're going to punish, and then compare those directly to your QA form, and coach, and then coach again, and then empower to those outcomes, right? And I'm saying then, this is a long then. I don't know if you guys can see my hands in this camera, but like later, explore AI only after your baseline methodology is crystal clear. Start small, connect one channel, one theme, one behavior, and then prove the impact. And then wash and repeat. And then wash and repeat, right? This to me is the easiest way to see that result, whatever that result is or what it looks like for you, right? Because we're all different, right? We all have similarities, right? But there may be different things that you have to look at, that you want to look at, that's important to you and your brand, right? This is like the secret sauce, aka recipe, in order to get you there to do that. So, small steps. All right, guys. I will leave you with this final thought, and that is anchored throughout this entire benchmark uh, project that I did, which I don't know if you guys can tell or feel it through the screen, but like, I am very passionate about QA and training and people. And this was like a total labor of love for me. And I got to talk to some amazing SOCAPers, which highly recommend doing that and reaching out and getting on LinkedIn. I don't know, built some really good relationships through it. But the future of QA, guys, is not about scoring more contacts. It's about understanding the customer experience better, what they want, what they need, and what you can do about it. So, thank you guys so much. I have been watching the time on my phone like a hawk, but I want to open it up and like see whatever questions you guys have. And yeah, thank you. Don't be shy, guys.
I'll just share something too while you guys are thinking about questions. So this has been an interesting journey for us at Carhartt, because I know across the industry, a lot of brands have removed email from their website years ago. And, just based on who our client was, we held off on doing that for a long time. But we've done other things to intentionally try to drive consumers also to channels that we know we service better. And we've seen a lot of progress with that. There are certain things though, like shipping notifications and order confirmations that, you're still gonna always trickle through. We did finally remove email from our website just a few weeks ago. We still will have those other emails trickling in, but the volume will be much smaller for us. And just kind of doing this work kind of sets us up for it. The results we're seeing are significantly improved pretty quickly from just focusing on that resolution more. And it's a tough channel to, it's not like I said, it's not just to see how that improves our CSAT overall with it being such a lower percentage. But I know for a lot of brands, they don't have that option just based on who their consumers are and how things come through. And so everybody's journey is a little bit different, but I just wanted to share that to give you all a little bit of extra context about the Carhartt journey on this front, so. Yeah, any questions? Which, by the way, I keep looking in the chat, and John, that dog is
It's
making
adorable.
smiles.
Not sharing so that I can see you guys now, like see your.
John, I'm like trying not to bust out laughing kind of while you were presenting, but
Oh my goodness, I love
his
it.
like AI eyebrows or something are killing me. Um, yeah, anyone have questions for Kai? Go ahead and come off mute, and otherwise we'll start to wrap up. Oh, there's a question in the chat.
Oh, Chris, I see your question.
I have a question. First of all, Kai, great job. This was
Thank
fantastic
you.
information. You did a fabulous job pulling it together. So I'm interested now, Angela, are you pushing your consumers to call, text, chat, all the above?
Yeah, so thanks to Chris, actually, who back in 2018 turned me on to text. You were the first you before the rest of us, right? Like, I'll never
Yeah.
we launched it in my past life shortly after you, but we did just launch it a few years ago. We redesigned our contact us page to actually strategically influence consumers to come to chat and SMS first, and then followed by phones, and then we did just remove the email form. The other challenge we have, and all the brands I'm sure that still have email on their sites probably are experiencing this too, is we were getting tons of just spam and bots and like people asking for donations and or free products, which in small doses that's okay, but with everything that's out there on TikTok, it's the volume for those scenarios is getting massive, and so we had to kind of move away from that. And those folks are giving you little scores if you don't send them free product.
They do.
Definitely.
So it's such a tricky thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely, and we've seen like significant progress over the last 2 years of like consumers starting to come through, and they love SMS. We have
They do.
typically above 90% in SMS any day of the week. Like, it's one of the best performing channels for us. So
Us too. We have a near perfect score in SMS. Our volume isn't high in SMS, but it's like 99%. So satisfaction. So that's good. And that was going to bring me to our my next question, if you don't mind. I'm a twofer here. So what do you do when someone will write back and give you a one, dissatisfied when it's something policy driven, because that is a sticky point for my reps. They will come in and say, you listened to the call, it was great, but they just didn't like what I had to say. Are you removing those from your, I don't like to do that either. But boy, they get very frustrated with that.
Yeah, so there's so many things that I could say to unpack what you said, and we can totally talk to outside of this, Chris. But those scores, so ones, twos, threes, et cetera, it's all factored into the overall score. So we look at the overall score in its totality, right? To see where, how we're performing overall. If we're talking to an agent, like giving them coaching feedback, if there was anything that they could have done to make the interaction maybe more resolution orientated, more seamless, they could have owned it more, we will give them that coaching feedback. But if they followed what was asked of them based on our knowledge base, then it'll just be factored into their overall, CSAT average. It's to be expected. We can't make everyone happy, but honestly, if we can make 80%, 90% happy, we'll take it. We also have set up, we have a outreach team that takes a look at all of our low scoring like CSATs, and they reach out to those consumers proactively to see if there's anything that we can do to repair that relationship. So that's two elements that we're looking at or that we kind of do here at Carhartt.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Alongside with that, we just redesigned our CSAT questions as well, because I think prior to this, our current new fiscal year, the questions were more ambiguous. So then it could go against, how the interaction went with the agent and how they resolved that contact, aside with our quality issues or policies or procedures related. So we redesigned that to be more their experience with that agent, that their interaction specifically. So I'm excited to see how that shifts in the coming fiscal year for us.
That's awesome. Okay, we do something kind of similar to that, where we look at like overall experience and then the knowledge of the agent, and then
Mhm.
some open text to that too. So yeah, I'm excited too. You'll have to let me know how it goes.
I will.
Follow-up session.
Yes, that's what it's sounding like. SOCAP little mini group over here. But yeah, guys, does anybody else have any other
I
questions?
was just gonna say, I think, we're probably at a good place to wrap it up.